Guys, what's up? This is Jack2505 and today we're looking at the Robocop Rogue City demo, which is now available on Steam. It was released about 1 or 2 days ago, and to be honest, it's quite a generous demo with 3 levels plus a roam around old Detroit. Robocop Rogue City is a first-person single-player game, and of course you play as Robocop. Peter Weller returns in the role and picks up where he left off and gives a good enough performance. The rest cannot be said for the rest of the cast, but we'll get to that later. Let's talk about the positives first. The movement of Robocop feels good. Robocop is a slow-moving tank, a one-man army against a gang of thugs and criminals. And when you move as Robocop, you can hear those chunky footsteps and the sound of those robo movements that takes you straight back to the films from back in the days. Now, the drug nuke is central to the story again and the main source of income and addiction for the gangs and the criminals. The Robocop theme is heavily present in the game, which is a good thing and really sets the atmosphere and brings you back to the world of Robocop. The Robocop satire is very evident in the game, with the news broadcast to the punks on the streets and the way Robocop interacts with the world via the police, criminals, innocent bystanders, and constant investigations, searching for clues, and of course upholding the law. The graphics in the first person is where the game looks its best. When you use the right mouse button to scan for clues, and you can see those old school robo lines across the screen, bringing that retro vision that Robocop has. Robocop Rogue City also seems to borrow a lot from superhero games such as the Arkham series and the Spider-Man games as well, regarding investigations and scanning for clues, which is a nice touch. Now, let's talk about the negatives now, and starting with the biggest one, which for me is Robocop's gun. Not the way it looks, the way it sounds. And we will talk about the voice acting and the face animations later as well. Now, the gun. I've heard 1 or 2 things about the sound of the gun, but I wanted to save it until I've actually played the game myself. Now I've actually played the game and experienced it. The gun, I mean, how do you mess this up? It basically sounds like a gun from Titanfall or any other first-person shooter. It doesn't sound like the gun from the movies at all. I mean, Robocop's gun is so iconic, the way it sounds, and there's no flash in this gun either. Remember when Robocop had the flash in his gun when he fired it? The sound sounds, like I said, the gun sounds like it's from another game or just some stock audio for any gun. Right? And every time I fire the gun with Robocop, if I'm looking at the gun, I feel like Robocop with the targeting and everything. When I hear the sounds of Robocop walking or briskly walking, but the moment I hear that gunfire, it just takes me out of the game and it makes me feel like I'm just playing any old first-person shooter. I mean, come on, you've got some iconic sounds from the movies that's easily translated into video games. We've got sounds from, let's say, something like Star Wars with lightsabers and the space combat lasers as well, and all those sounds. Plus you've got Aliens games with a pulse rifle. The pulse rifle, it sounds like the pulse rifle in practically every single Aliens game I've ever played, no matter how good or bad it is. You just don't mess up that sound. And with Robocop, I'm gonna play it in just a second, where you're gonna hear the in-game shooting with Robocop's gun and the classic Robocop sound that we all know and love. And with Robocop, you do get the opportunity to basically pick up other guns and use them. But to be honest, I don't want to use them. I want to use Robocop's gun. I don't want to pick up some random guy's pistol on the ground and start using that. I want to use Robocop's gun. But let's have a listen.
Nice and easy.
And as you guys can hear, there's no doubt they definitely dropped the ball with the Robocop firing gun sound. I mean, how the hell do you basically mess that up? I really hope the devs have got enough feedback from fans saying the gun sounds off and they somehow do some sort of update. It might be too late by now, but maybe later on down the game's life cycle, just update that, man, and just bring the gun sound that we know, want, and love. Also, let's talk about the facial animations. Now, some of the cutscenes look good with just Robocop, but the moment you look at other characters, I mean, there's like no life in their faces. The sound is off as well. That it's like the lip sync seems to be off. And Lewis, Robocop's partner, and Lewis, I don't know what they've done with this character because I know Nancy Allen, the actress who played Lewis. I know she didn't come back for this, and the way they portrayed Lewis is like some nice little lady police officer who's just kind to everyone, and that's just not the Lewis I remember. She was like some badass, cheeky, bubblegum chewing police officer who was, you know, brave, heroic, and not just like this sort of nice little woman. I don't really like what they've done with her. Hopefully, during the story, she develops and changes and becomes a little bit more gritty, like she was, especially in Robocop 1. I mean, Lewis was a really good character. And also the police sergeant, the sergeant or captain character, obviously the real actor has passed away sadly a few years back, and is voiced by somebody else. Now, the person that they got to voice him, I'm not saying this guy's not a good voice actor, but he sounds too young to play the sergeant. His voice doesn't go with the character or the look or anything. This guy's far too young, and they should have got somebody who was a lot older and has more of a commanding voice, rather than this is blatantly a much younger actor. The police station, I will give them props for it. The police station is probably the best setting I've seen so far in the game outside the action. They have absolutely nailed that Detroit police station from Robocop 1, the 1987 film, in regards to the reception area, the firing range, also Robocop's lab layout where he goes to recharge and speak to those OCP scumbags as well. And also, I thought it was a really nice touch where you go to where the cars are parked, you go down those steps, those familiar steps in the film, and the ramp is there as well. I don't know what it is about that ramp. That ramp is just a major part of Robocop for me. But I'm gonna say this: Robocop Rogue City, it will be a game really for Robocop fans, for people who remember Robocop 1, Robocop 2, let's forget Robocop 3, and people who are really fans of the Robocop series. This game is not going to attract any new modern players or someone just looking for a shooter to play. I think the demo may encourage or discourage some people. It's discouraged me a little bit in regard, especially with the gun. The gun, I just can't get that out of my head. How basically it doesn't sound bad. It sounds so uniconic, if that's even a word. It just doesn't sound like the gun that I know Robocop holds in his hand shooting bad guys. The graphics are okay, not the best. Like I said, it looks best in Robocop's first-person view. The one thing that is intriguing me is the story that's developing. With Robocop, obviously he's seasoned by now. Everybody knows who he is, and whilst he's doing his missions, he's seeing visions of his former self, Alex Murphy. He's hearing his son. He's seeing his wife in other women, and there's something going on in his head. So that seems really interesting how they're gonna sort of unravel that story. But overall, I would say Robocop Rogue City, once it comes out in, I think it's November the 3rd on Steam, Xbox Series X, and PlayStation 5. Unless you're really into Robocop or you're lucky enough to get a review copy, get it on release. If not, I think at this point I will probably get this game on sale, or it becomes a lot cheaper, or hopefully maybe on Game Pass, but that'll probably be in about 12 months. I probably will get it. I probably won't get it at release. I don't feel that there's any rush or need to get this game on release. There's too many other games out at the moment. But guys, I want you to tell me how you feel about Robocop Rogue City. Have you watched any gameplay? Have you listened to the sound? Do you agree or disagree with what I'm saying? Download the demo for yourself if you're on PC. I don't think it's on console at the moment. I might be wrong. I have looked it up. All I can see is on Steam at the moment. Download the demo. It's a very generous demo. It's very chunky. You get a lot for basically nothing. And tell me what how you feel about Robocop Rogue City. Now, thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. My name is Jack2505, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.